I love magical themed books. It's now November, almost Christmas time. It's a really magical feeling time of the year. So today I thought I'd recommend my 4 favourites. We're going to start off with A Discovery of Witches by Deborah Harkness. This is a trilogy, but we'll just talk about the first one today. So this is a story about witches, vampires and demons, and it follows the witch Diana. Hello Milo, what are you up to? It follows the witch Diana Bishop and the man that she falls in love with, Matthew Clairmont, who is a vampire. It's a different take on sort of witches and vampire worlds. You don't usually see witches and vampires together, usually it's like werewolves and vampires. So sort of a unique take on it. Demons you don't see, they don't feature very highly in this book. They're all quite big books, and the author goes into quite a lot of detail with it, and it's sort of, it comes from a sort of science side of it. It's very sort of like chemistry and DNA, and the science element is very high in it. For me, I hadn't read witches or vampire books that contained so much elements of science in them, so it was a really nice different read, and the detail to the world building was great. The next book I have is Gathering of Shadows by V.E. Schwab. The main character in this story is a magician, and he is able to travel through parallel universes. And in this story there is 4 different Londons that the main character can travel through. Each London is different. So there's a white London, a black London, which I don't think anybody's supposed to travel through anymore, and the other 2 are obviously have different qualities to them as well. He lives in one particular London, and he travels messages through each of the other Londons, and you aren't allowed to take anything. You aren't allowed to, he's allowed to carry these letters through, but you aren't allowed to leave objects or anything, or take objects from other Londons. And when he's in a different London from his own, he is pickpocketed by a girl, Lila, and that's how the story sort of picks up when he realises that something's missing and he has to go looking for it. This I love. The 2 main characters are really different. The female lead is a very unique female lead, and the development of the worlds was really nice. This again is a trilogy. The second book has just come out this year. I've recently acquired it and I'm hoping to read it before the end of the year is up. The third book I have is A Girl on the Wire by Gwenda Bond. I raced through this book. I loved it. It reminded me of the last book that I'm going to talk about. It is about a girl, and she is part of a circus family, and they're sort of this extricated, they're sort of shunned by the circus world. So her family they perform on their own, and they're invited by this big touring circus that has recently been acquired by this very wealthy businessman, and so it's about them joining on this circus tour, and the other main performing family has a feud with them, and it's sort of about that rivalry. But you think it's just going to be a circus, but there is a lot of magical elements that come into it that's really nice to see, and it was just very well developed, and it had very magical themes in it. She wants to follow in her footsteps of her father, who is a tightrope walker, so she pushes herself to new heights, pun intended, in the story with tightrope walking. The author really took you through great detail when she's tightrope walking and everything the character's feeling, and I loved this. I love that aspect to it. It was really unique for me. In my opinion, I have left the best for last. This is literally one of my favourite books. If you haven't read it and you aren't curious about any of the other books, I urge you so much to pick up this book, because I recommend it for everybody. I buy it for everybody, and there's literally no other words to describe it other than magical, and that is The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. The first time I read this, I was just blown away. I bought it for my sister. She loves it as well. Like, it's our winter reads. We read it regularly in winter. It is just so well crafted. It is so beautiful. It's so magical. It's just, I can't describe it in any words. It's just so good. It's basically about a man who trains his younger daughter to be his prodigy. He is a magician, but he does it like in our society where these people do these crazy tricks, and you know it must be an illusion and there must be a trick to it somehow, but it actually turns out that it really is. He is magic, and that's how he's able to perform these stunts, but he knows people will play it off that it's a trick, an illusion, it's somehow been manufactured. And he has a long time running nemesis, but the way that they have their fights is through magic, but it's them trying to outdo each other with performances and tricks. So he trains his daughter, and then his nemesis trains a young boy that he picks out of an orphanage. And so these two are trained from childhood to fight against each other, but with magic, in order to outperform each other with magical tricks. And so they go through their life knowing that they have to fight against each other, but they don't know who the other one is. Basically, their sort of fighting ground, I don't know if that's how I call it, is a circus that they both join, and they both create different like elements and tents and crazy beautiful things in this circus, trying to outdo each other to become the winner. But one of them has to die, and that's how the other is proclaimed the winner. I can't talk about it because there's no words, but it is just such a beautiful, I've never read anything like this before. It is perfect for Christmas time. It's so magical, so beautiful, and I love it so much. So those are the 4 books I have today. They're perfect for cozying up on winter nights and making you feel all Christmassy and magical. Hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you next time.